says it's streaming live on Facebook.
Yeah. No. Hi.
Hi.
Bimal, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Yes.
you. I can.
Okay. Bit of technical difficulty, but we are here. Hello, everybody, my friends and the family members and the audience. How are we doing this evening? Yeah. So it says we are live and coming all the way from our successzante page. And over here, I have Bimal Raj, a very good friend of mine. Before that, let me introduce myself. I am the CEO of successzante, and we are the world-class training provider. And so there is so much of uncertainty out there. So we wanted to bring in the thoughts, the conversation, and the positive outcome to our audience. And that's one of the reasons we are doing this real talk with Shuvo. And today I have a brilliant friend, a very close friend of mine, who has been quite a contributor in my self-development. As I told you, last week we had Sayandan, another friend of mine. So I always say this, your environment is more important than your willpower. And this is the man who has helped me to build the environment in a very positive manner in my life, and that had a huge impact. And we will get to know him in shortly. And before that, I would like to introduce him. So he is the CEO and the founder of Orange Talks. So now he's specialized in a very unique area, which is actually really very unique, which is parenting. So nobody, what on earth, people will think that somebody specialized in parenting, and this is the man for it. And he has 20 years of experience and wealth of knowledge he's going to share with us. And apart from that introduction, what I can say is that he's a very genuine person. I met Bimal 2 years back in Hyderabad when I was attending Millionaire Mind Intensive. And you know, I'm sure you have met somebody in life. The moment you meet, you feel some sort of a positive connection. When I met Bimal, I had that connection with him, right? Immediately, I knew that something big is going to happen between us. And he has a beautiful, gorgeous wife and a beautiful daughter, a real family man. And I've known him for the last 2.5 years, and his contribution to the community in building relationship in family wise, has been immense. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest for this evening, a man with a big heart and a biggest giver I've ever met, Bimal Raj. So Bimal, how are we doing today?
Thank you, Shuvo. I've been very happy about this evening because we have been discussing a lot that we need to start collaborating together, and I'm so happy that finally it is happening.
Yes.
Okay? So I'm very excited about this call, and I truly believe that this is a need of the hour
Right.
when it comes to parenting. Okay, I'll give you a brief background about myself. Okay, I keep telling in my videos that I've been studying parenting for over 20 years, but I've been married for less than 20 years. So my close.
Okay. Okay. How is that? Okay. Okay. By the way, before you continue. I like the new look. I like the whole beard look. It looks really nice. It's the quarantine look, is it?
No, this is something that I tried in the lockdown, and I think it's going to stick for a while because a lot of people told me that it's looking nice on me.
Yeah, keep it. It's looking nice. Yes. So yeah. So Bimal, so you were saying your story that what's behind it? Why parenting? And okay, what parenting? I mean, why did you start working with parenting? Why is that? What made you start that?
It's actually a very long story, but I'll cut it short quickly. I was in the Indian Navy. I've been privileged to serve my country for 17 years. I was a commander in the Navy. Now, while I was in the Navy in 1998, when I was in my 20s, I met with a very serious road accident. which put me in a hospital bed for 2 years. In fact, my roots of parenting started on the bed where I was lying. Okay, to cut it very short, I was in the intensive care, not ICU, but intensive care, and I was in Calcutta, a city, and I had these military veterans giving me company in the adjacent bed, and I was completely tied to the bed. I couldn't move anywhere. And old military veterans, they like to talk about their life experience and stuff like that. Yes, initially I found it irritating because 20 years old, you're full of energy and stuff like that. I don't want to listen to life stories, right? Then I realized that these are lessons I wouldn't get normally. So I started listening, and there were two officers that changed my life. The first was somebody who was very, very career focused. I know reached great heights in career. He was there for about 2 weeks. He had two sons locally in the city, but they didn't come and visit him even once. Okay, his wife used to meet him every day. That's all. And immediately after that, another officer came who was not very career focused, but every evening there was a group of some 15, 20 people used to come. His two daughters, his kids, grandkids, son-in-laws, everybody used to come, and they used to never leave him till the nurse used to insist that they leave. And in one of the conversations, the first officer told me that, Bimal, I did a lot in my life, but if I had to do it all over again, I would do it differently because I would spend more time with my kids, because if I had done it that time, today, when I need them, they would have been here. And the second officer, incidentally, told me something similar. He said, I didn't achieve great heights in life, but today my daughters love me so much, they don't let me buy even my own pajamas. That hit me. I said, at this point in my life, what more do you need? That actually, I couldn't sleep that night. That actually made me evaluate the priorities in life. When I was 20, the success in life is all about career, wealth, and all that kind of thing. Normally, I was not even married that time. But then, I realized I had the privilege of seeing the live result of two directly opposite approaches towards life. And that night, I decided, this is going to be one of my goals in life, to bring up my child in a very close knit way, and to learn everything I can do about parenting so that I can build a great family. And so it started from there. Now, I've been studying. I had no intention of teaching. It's just that, when I did an MMI and other things, people told me I should teach. So that's why I'm here.
Great. Oh, thank you for sharing such a powerful story. So you never know. I mean, the moment of when you make that decision, it will definitely shape your destiny. And you made that decision. That's why today, after 20 years, you're doing what you're doing. I mean, it is amazing. So my first question, another question to you: why is parenting? What is parenting and how it is important? What is parenting?
This question has been asked so many times over so many years. There is no specific definition about it. I mean, people have defined it, but let me share the way I see it. Okay, parenting is a multifaceted job. You are the mentor, you are the sounding board, you're also the punching bag, you're the security blanket, you're also the jailer and the choker. I mean, it's everything put into one as a parent. And personally, if you ask me, parenting is the most important job on the planet. It's right up there with the teacher's job, because it's all about unconditional giving, unconditionally loving. And as a parent, you make the single biggest contribution, not just to your child, but to the society as a whole. And whatever you do as a parent, whatever you teach and whatever the child learns through you, it's going to the ripple effect is going to go to generation. It's not just for those few years. So I think it is the most important role if you are a parent. And there's nothing bigger than that. I would say our mentor, Blair Singer, he always says that the world needs teachers and leaders. And more than anything else, it is time for parents to take up that role, the mantle of being a teacher and a leader to your children. And that's what I believe in, because role models today are not as great. Yeah, and there is a definite gap, and we really need to fill that gap for the sake of our children, for our society and world as a whole. That's what I believe.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, there is a blogger. So his name is Matthew Jacob. So he says that behind every young child who believes in himself is a parent who believes first, right? So it makes so sense, right? So my next question is, so how do you describe parenting at this current situation?
This current situation is very interesting. It is how you look at it. If you ask me personally, I think it is a big boon, a gift from above. If you are in a family, because when was the last time we actually spent so much of time in such close proximity for such a long time, day after day after day after day? Yes. This is, in fact, this is a perfect opportunity for us as parents to teach children about a lot of life skills, a lot of value systems. How, especially, we all want to teach our kids to face difficult times, and we are facing difficult times. You don't have to tell them; you can show them, and it's simple. I mean, you can be a role model. I'm telling you simple examples. Okay, how do you behave under stress? Because there is a lot of stress happening. Maybe could be with respect to your career, could be with respect to support, with respect to finances or resources. And the simple things like, let's say we are having a conversation like this, and internet is the backbone, and suddenly the electricity goes off. Okay, and maybe it's an important call. How do you react to that? Your child is watching you all the time, and learning how to handle and how to behave in times of crisis. So personally, if you ask me, use this. I mean, it's how you see, right? It's an opportunity or a difficulty. People who see it as a difficulty will always find difficult things. I mean, things are very difficult, and people who consider it as an opportunity will use this to sharpen and strengthen the bonds with the whole family and especially with the children. So use this time. That's what I say.
Right. So what you're saying is that even though it's a stressful, but it shouldn't be projected on our children, right? So that's what.
Not projecting. In fact, you should have conversation. If you're having a challenge with respect to your finances and business, so you should have a conversation with your children. But it is more important how you project it. Okay,
Right.
I'll give you an example. See, the one thing I like about Sri Lanka is that our cultures are very, very similar. The value system, the family bonding, everything is very, very, very similar. Yeah. So I think it applies to you as well. There was a friend of mine who was into a business, and the last few weeks, the conversation between the husband and wife has been that business is down, the invoices are getting cancelled, we are not getting money. It's going to be really, really tough for the next few months. And they had a son who just finished 10. Okay, and he was just listening to all this. And one day he just walked up to his mom and started asking, "Mom, are we broke? Okay, will you be able to send me to college? Do you want me to look for a job?" Okay, I mean, he didn't realize that parents were not in such a bad state, but this was a conversation happening. Luckily, the child had a great bonding with the mother and the father, so he was able to come and express. So understand that if you are expressing tension, if you are going through a challenge, it's all right to discuss, be open, but do it in a way to empower them. Keep it as a teachable moment for them. That's all.
Teachable. Okay, great. Okay, brilliant. So my 8-year-old always say that when I grow up, I will buy a house for you and Ammi. She always says that. So we always tell her that, okay, hey, okay, we don't expect that. If you want to do it, we don't mind. So yeah, and it's so nice to hear from them. Okay, in this way. So now as a parent, how much time do we have to spend as a family? Is there a quantifiable way of doing this?
For me, I always say whether it is locked on, whether it is not locked on, doesn't matter. It is never about how much time you are spending. It is about the quality of time that you are spending. If you're not spending, if you're a bad influence to your child, if you spend more time, it's only going to be bad for your child, right? So, I mean, simple things like even if you spend a couple of hours in a day with your child, uh, giving full attention. Even we struggle with that because there's a lot of things. Everything is virtual. Things are happening on mobile, on chats. Things are getting booked and stuff like that. So there's a big temptation to continuously look at your phone, even with your child. Playing with your child. So that is something that would go a long way in creating that bond. Just keep your phone away for 1 hour. Just spend the time completely with the child. You don't have to worry about how you're going to entertain the child. Just be there. They will figure it out. They just want your presence. with them and be genuinely happy. Don't be irritated. Don't be upset about the fact that you have to spend time. All right. And one of the things that we do as a family is that before going to sleep, we play a board game. We play Uno. In fact, sometimes when I'm busy, my wife and my daughter, they do play. Both of them play Uno. It basically make it a fun time just before you go to sleep. So all of us go to sleep happy with happy memories, with laughter around. So that is what I believe in. The quality of time that you spend with your child is more important than how much time you spend with your child.
Great. Yeah, so coincidentally, we also do the same thing. And recently we started this. So we do play Uno and we play charades as well. So sometimes, so my 8-year-old Dia, she always insists, no, we must play Uno before we go to sleep. And this is always fun. And you correctly said it's not the quantity, it's the quality of time what we spend, right? So now, yeah, go ahead.
It's going to be a very, very strong memory for your child because I don't know how when we will have another time like this. Everybody's together for such a long time. So whenever they think of home, this will be one strong memory for them. So try and make it a nice one, happy one. That's it.
So, Drew Barrymore, so he said that she said that best kind of parents that you can be is to lead by example, right? So that's where you have to be. So my next question in line is that, so in parenting, who plays the major role, mother or the father?
So it's like
Be careful when you're answering it.
Yes, I know. But the fact is, this question is the same as asking which is more important to you, your right arm or your left leg. I mean, both are important. And when it comes to a family, both parents play a very, very, very important role because understand that for a child who is growing up, you are their idols, whether it's a boy or a girl, whether you like it or not, they will become who you are or exactly opposite to who you are, depending on how you behave. Okay. Now, it is very important for both the partners to have equal roles because if you are the father and if you are the boy, he's learning how a father is supposed to behave, how he's supposed to behave with his spouse. If it's a wife, he's saying how a wife or a woman is supposed to be, and they will also learn a lot of things like if for everything there can be two different views, a male perspective and a female perspective. Traditionally, the male perspective is very logical and process oriented, and the female perspective is very emotional and creative. Okay, and these are always at conflicts. So they learn how you resolve your conflicts between the two of you, and all these are amazing learnings you can't. They'll never get in a textbook or in a school or a university. This is the best place to learn.
So what you're saying is balance it out, right? Balance it out.
Okay. Do not ever think that one role is superior or inferior to the other. And do not ever let the child feel that one role is superior to the other.
Okay. So you wrote a blog called The Era of Hands-on Dad, right? That blog.
Yes, yes.
So you talked about some new role a father can play. Would you like to elaborate on that?
See, earlier, in fact, right in the beginning, the roles of, I'm talking really, really old times when we were evolving as species, the roles were very, very defined. You know, the males, the parent, the father or the males were the hunters and females were the gatherers. Okay, so the males would go out from the cave, they would go hunt animals and get food home, and the females would tend to the children, the babies, they would protect the nest. Okay, in fact, our brains have developed according to that. That is why men we have something called a tunnel vision. Okay, I don't know if you had the experience. How many times has it happened that Hasini asked you to get something and you said, no, I can't find it, and she came and picked it from front of you, right?
Oh yes. It has several times. Yeah. Yeah. True.
I wanted to say that it's not your fault. It is how and how brains have developed over a period of time. Okay.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So the brains developed as per the roles that we were following from time immemorial. Okay. Now what happened now is that now the roles have got kind of mixed up. Okay, we have a very proud stay-at-home dads and doing fantastically well. We have women who are career-oriented and stuff like that. So what has happened is that because the roles have got mixed up now, a lot of parents, a lot of dads like to be hands-on. I mean, I like to be a hands-on parent. I like to, I mean, I wake her up, I take her down to the school and stuff like that. For me, that depends on your priority. And these days, it is all about understanding your priority and being able to live by that. And if you have understanding between the partners, that is not a challenge at all.
Brilliant. Thank you. So, yeah, so in conversation with my good friend Bimal Raj, we're talking about parenting at the time of quarantine. And so Bimal is from India, Hyderabad, and then so we have invited him to share his experience, 20 years of experience on parenting and how we can improve it, and what are the things we should focus on. So Bimal, the next question is, how does the parenting looks like after COVID-19?
Let me be very blunt. How parenting looks after COVID-19 will depend totally on how you did parenting during COVID-19. Okay, I have to be very honest because it can go either way. Okay, because if you invest time and effort into building those relationships with your children and with your family, then once the COVID is over and the lockdown is over, the children would be comfortable spending time with you, comfortable conversing with you, comfortable telling you things that they may not talk to you about normally. So this is the time because they don't have anybody else to talk to. It's up to us to create that environment. You just said, no, environment is stronger than the will. You create the right environment, they will start opening out with us and we'll be able to build a great relationship. And if you do not do that, if the child is sick and tired of you as a parent, they would just wait for the lockdown to end to just run away from as far from us as possible. And after that, bringing them back and building the relationship is going to be a really, really uphill task. So remember that this is a great time for you to build that bond. Invest time, invest energy into building that bond because this is going to make your life easier or harder after this lockdown is over.
So universe has given us an opportunity to build that relationship, right?
Totally.
With our kids, the loved ones. Okay, brilliant. Okay, we are going into digital era because forced digital era, I would say, because of the present situation. So this, digital devices like iPad, phone, we always, as a parent, we have this question: how much we should allow them to use it? How much we should allow the kids to use it? iPads, phones, and other digital devices.
There are a lot of studies which is done on it. There are two things to it, interestingly. Okay, so you need to understand both. One is in US the average hours that a teenager spends on a digital device and gaming or something is about 9 hours. I mean, you don't need a research to understand that it is really, really bad for them, for anyone who spends 9 hours. Okay. There is another study which actually proved that children who play games, especially action games where their hand-eye coordination is required, their brains perform much better in other tests compared to kids who do not play games. Okay. Now then, so what's the solution? The solution, I believe, is moderation. Okay. How much do you? And there's no point being so hard on the kids and putting an iron fist and saying that no, you will not do it. They will just figure out an easier way. They'll go to the friend's place and then overdo it or find a way out. The aim is to get into an agreement with the child, okay, that, okay, during the normal days, what is allowed for you is about 1 hour, maybe 2 hours. I'm looking at COVID because they have nothing else to do. They can't even go down to play. They can't follow a hobby class, go out for a class and meet things. There's a lot of pent-up energy within them, okay, which needs to get dissipated. That doesn't happen. So just make sure that they don't spend too much time. Normally, it is about 1.5, 2 hours per day that you can allow for a child up to about 17 years. This is beyond, this is not part of their homework, because a lot of children have homework online. Even my child, she's just turning 11 tomorrow, but all her homework and everything happens online. So other than that, the game time has to be around 2 hours. That's what I can say. I try to maintain it. Sometimes she goes over because we're also busy with stuff. But I get her back. I don't go down very hard on her. I just tell her, this is not the way. Can we trust you? Can we count on your word? So it's about teaching another value about trusting slowly and gradually without putting her down, calling her names and stuff like that.
Right. So you see, you were saying to come into an agreement, right? So what would be that conversation look like? If you can share it with the audience.
Okay, so one thing that I do is that if there is a contention, I'll give you an example of there is this game called I'm forgetting the name. Which is in there was this game along with PUBG. There was this game. I'm forgetting the name of it.
Okay, no worries. Then go ahead.
This game is a rage in a school, in a class, and everybody is fire. No, now I'm stuck in that.
Okay,
Okay,
no problem.
Anyway,
That's right.
so she was after my life. I want to play this game. I want to play this game. I said, no, let us go through it. I didn't say yes or no. He said, let's go through it. And I made her sit with me, and we went to this one, started going through the reviews and what experts say about the game. And it was clearly said it is for 13 plus. And she was 10 okay, 10 or 9 that time. He said, see, and I was reading on the reviews. It's about getting into avatars of friends and then killing each other and stuff like that. It's about strategy, but definitely above 13. So that's when I said that, see, this says 13 years of age. So let us come back to this when you are 13. So that was all right. The similar thing with respect to the timing also. So what I did was that these days, what you need to do is that the children need to be given some kind of a structure. Okay, understand that. Don't give them an open-ended day. They can do whatever you want. Okay, they are not mature enough to take. It's a responsibility to handle that entire day and keep themselves motivated. Not possible. They get overwhelmed. My very, very close friend, her daughter goes to a kind of a homeschool, so they don't have classes. My daughter has classes, so they already have a structure. She didn't have any kind of structure, and after about a couple of weeks, she started acting on. He said, I don't know what to do. I'm bored. They don't know what to do. And it's a very, very not nice place to be. So give them a structure. Create some kind of a timetable for them along with them. So what I did with my child was that my requirement was about 4 hours of studies in a day, 1 hour of guitar because she's good, and 1 hour of art. That was before the school came up with their own timetable. So I said, okay, these are the 4 hours I need. So rest of the time, what would you like to do? So then she filled in the stuff. And so it was a mutual thing. So it doesn't work all the time, but it helps a lot.
Okay, great. So what you're saying is having a structure is good. So then the child is focused. Okay, I have to do this. Right. Okay, brilliant. Okay, okay. Shall we take a question from the audience? Audience, we're watching. You can ask question. So I have a question from Hasini Gunasekara. You know who she is. So, okay. So she's asking, how do you shape your child's mind to think of abundance, not in scarcity? How do you make your child's mind think like abundance? Yeah.
That's a beautiful question, Hasni, because I would say, see, parents, when you look at children are the fruits. We are the roots. Parents are the roots. So everything, their thought process, their actions, their attitudes stem from us. Okay, simple things like a lot of times, I've grown up listening to things like, money doesn't grow on trees. It is very difficult to make money. It is very difficult to do this. It is very there is not enough stuff out there. We are working so hard for everything, and still you are doing all these kind of stuff. These are things that we as parents say when we are frustrated. Okay, we do not have emotional control over our emotions, so we end up talking about all these things. I mean, the child asks for something and say, "What do you think? What do you think? We have money lying around or what?" Okay, it takes a lot of work. It's very difficult to earn money, especially these days. So these are belief systems that we put into a child, especially if the child is less than 30. There is a filter that our brain has. Okay, that filter is basically our life experiences and stuff. So it's a topic. I'll just stick to the point that till about 12:30, kids do not have a filter to judge whether it is right, wrong. They don't have, and they don't evaluate what you say. So as parents, when you say something that it is difficult to make money, it becomes their belief system. Oh, it is difficult to make money. Okay, when you tell a child that we don't have money, that becomes another belief system. So what you can do is talk the opposite. I'm not saying say money is everywhere and money will come ask you. So be positive about every situation. Even if there is a difficulty, have a positive outlook towards life. Have a positive outlook towards what's going to happen in the future, whether it's your career or about anything else. Just create that fundamental building block of being positive in every situation, and that will go a long way in creating that abundance mentality in children.
So create that environment again, right, around them, saying that,
Yes.
okay, it is possible. So you have to be the source of possibility so that it impacts positively to the kids. So Ajita Gunavardhan over here, she's saying that yes, shouldn't they be quietly introduced to a timetable which they will be following later too? So she's agreeing with that, what you're saying, that okay, there should be a timetable and they can follow later. So that's what she's saying. Okay, well, yeah, go ahead.
The quick thing is that when you talk about a timetable, try and make it with them, with their agreement. Don't make a timetable and give it, right? That's all.
Okay. So okay, that's a good point. So what you're saying is that, so sit down and do the timetable together. So it becomes a bonding time, and it becomes like togetherness, spending time, that's quality time. Yes. And of course, later on, they don't get surprised also. Sorry, I was not told, right? Like that.
And in fact, I made it with my daughter. I took a printout and I made her sign it.
Okay, got it. Okay, got it. So, Bimal, so now these days we're having online classes. Kids are most of the time on the phone, online. So, is it safe to be online, or how can we manage that?
Yeah, so that's a big topic in itself. There's a lot of videos that I'm doing with respect to cybersecurity for the kids in my group that I'm doing. Safety, it's if you ask me bluntly, it is not safe. Okay, it is like would you send your child alone to a group, along to a gathering of some 1,000 strangers alone? You wouldn't, right? But we do it every single time when she's allowed to go online, because a person when it's online, it doesn't matter whether the person is next door to you or whether the person is sitting in Zimbabwe or in Iceland. It is open to everybody. So you need to teach your children the best practices, and you yourself should speak in such a way that that they are careful. They do not share their details, their birthdays, your phone numbers, addresses. They should never befriend somebody whom they don't know personally. They should not accept any friend request from somebody whom they don't know personally, even if he claims to be a friend of their father. Should not. Okay, and most important, you should have an open communication channel with your child, where the child should feel safe and secure to come and tell you. Shuvo, do you know how many children get a sexual solicitation online? 1 in 5 kids get a sexual solicitation online. No, what is more worrying is that what percentage of kids actually tell this incident to their parents? Less than 25.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That is the challenge. So
Yeah.
that is why I keep saying focus on building the relationship,
Right.
not on their behavior. Because if you have the behavior, if you have the relationship, you can always work on the behavior later. They should feel safe and secure to come and tell you that, okay, this is what has happened. So that is most important.
You to make them safe and secure, make them feel so that they can comfortable, they can come and talk to you.
Yes.
Brilliant. I mean, yeah, so that's a good advice. So over here, Udani is saying that great thoughts. Yes, I agree. Even in practicing a structure. So she's also agreeing that having a structure can give a very good outcome at the end. And Hasini is saying that in a time like this, it gets us thinking survival is more important than anything. So that's what she's saying. She's just mentioning that. Okay.
Survival more important than?
Survival is more important than anything. This time like this. So that's what she's saying. Yeah. So I guess yeah. Even though survival is important more than anything, but as a parents, we should face it together. We should not be. We should not be. We should not be reacting or taking behaving in such a way that will have a negative impact on the kids. I'm not saying to fake it, but create that environment so that we have that positive environment at home. Because
Absolutely.
yeah, great. So okay, last question. Please share some parenting tips at current. Okay, before that question, I want to ask you one question. Parenting, is it something to be learned or is it inborn with us, ingrained with us?
Okay, let me ask you this question. Okay, we are parents, right? We have the challenge in parenting, or the dilemma of parenting, is that we are using 19th century parenting skills to bring up 20th century kids and trying to prepare them for the 21st century. I mean, is there anybody else who sees a problem with that?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we don't realize that. The fact is that we feel, I mean, we've turned out okay. We didn't become drug addicts, and we're not bad. We're not bad people. We turned out okay. So we feel that whatever our parents used with us will work for our kids as well. And that is very, very far from truth. For the simple fact that the fact is that we have never been exposed to the stresses and challenges and environment that today's kids are exposed to, right? Because from 1995, when the internet got commercialized, the way we communicate, the way they have make friends, and everything has dramatically changed. And we are not in pace with that. So the kind of stresses, like, I mean, we could drop to anybody's home in any dress. These days, teenagers have stress because, you go to a friend's place, they may click a picture and put it on Instagram, and they need to look good. I mean, we never had that kind of challenges. And there's a lot of media exposure. There's a lot of information which is getting bombarded on the kids. And we think we know, but we don't know. And that becomes a big point of contention with the kids. The kids feel that they're not understood. And then they stop responding to you as parents. And then it becomes a big challenge. Okay, so it is very important for us to learn how parenting needs to be done. I mean, like I said, this is the biggest role you do as a parent, and this is one skill. If you do properly, the rewards will be for generations together. And I think it is worth. I mean, the more I studied about parenting, the more I'm convinced that every parent must get skill. It's like, I mean, Windows 95 worked for us. It's not going to work today. We are still trying to run Windows 95 in the latest operating system. So that has to change. Need to learn. Definitely.
So thank you very much. Yeah, I like the fact that what you mentioned is that parenting is a skill, and only way to develop a skill is learn about it and practice it, and that's how you improve. Yeah, because since we are from a good parent, so we think that we know the parenting, but then again, given the scenario, present scenario, we know with the 21st century kids they're born in a different way. Like simple example, before I get into the call with my elder daughter, so she was charging her iPad, right? So and she told me that, and I took out the charger, and she was saying that, why are you taking it out? I said, I want to charge my phone. Then she said, it has to be, so since I've taken it out, the battery has to be less than 10%, then she's able to charge. So then I asked her, why did you learn this? So and then she said, oh, my mama told me. So information is all over the place, you know. And they're getting information in so many places. So that made me think that hey, actually, yeah. So what she's saying is true. So I could have reacted to that, and actually, or to be honest, I reacted to it. But then I got and said, sorry, I didn't understand. Where did you learn it from? I told her that I'm sorry. Then she told me that I learned it from my mama. So that's the conversation I had. So when you say like this, I really get that it really makes a difference. That when you build that relationship, focus on the relationship building rather than yelling and shouting, that will definitely have a positive impact. Okay, so the last question.
Doctor, I
Yeah,
have one point here. This is people take it lightly. It's very, very serious. If you just look at the number of suicides that teenagers are doing these days, you'll understand that there is some issue because the intent of our parents are good. No parent wants to lose their child, but there are so many suicides happening. It happened 2 weeks back, just few kilometers from my apartment. One 13-year, 14-year-old kid jumped from the 11th floor. I mean, it is sad. It is painful, and you cannot take it lightly.
got it. So again, so we have to build that relationship so that child feels safe, the kids feel safe, they come and talk to you and communicate with you. So before something happens drastic, you take action. Okay, great. So yes, so last question. So please share some parenting tips at the current situation.
Okay, parenting, like the first thing I said about having a structure is very, very, very important. Second thing, what I would say is that focus on relationship instead of behavior, especially at this time. Okay, build on. I mean, normally what happens is that we get stuck on getting compliance. We say something that has to be done. Okay, that is behavior. Okay, focus on the relationship instead of trying to get the right behavior because it's a long-term thing. Third, very interesting thing is that give more importance to people than things and cleanliness. So these days, especially what's happening is that the maids are not coming. You know, the house tends to get dirty. All the cleaning has to be done by the parents themselves. And what happens, how we react if our child spills something on the floor or on the sofa, that gives an indication to the child that, this sofa is more important than me. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes
Yeah,
you react very badly. Said we have
yeah,
spent so much time trying to clean it up. And we
yeah.
scream at them.
Right.
Please don't
Yeah.
do that. These are all adding on. These are all adding on. And remember one thing. Just if you remember this one thing, that will help you a lot. Okay, it's one small point about the brain. Okay, now the kids have something. We all have something called the limbic brain. Limbic brain is called the seat of emotions. Okay, all our raw emotions, whether it's anger, whether it is frustration, sadness, everything is seated over there. Now, children have that very, very strong. What they don't have is something called as prefrontal cortex, which we have. Now, prefrontal cortex is developed from the age of 12 up to the age of 20 to 22. Till then, it is not developed. Now, prefrontal cortex is called the seat of civilization. That is what helps us be civil. That actually controls the emotion that comes from the limbic system, and you act civil with other people. You can actually control your emotions. Now, remember that your kids do not have that controlling mechanism. So they will react the way they will, the raw emotions, however they come. Remember that we have that prefrontal cortex, so we have to behave responsibility. Don't react to their reactivity. Please keep in mind that their brains are underdeveloped and your brains are developed. If you keep this mantra in your mind, especially when they are getting angry and they're calling you names and stuff like that, keep this. Their brains are underdeveloped. Their brains are underdeveloped because they will scream at one moment and after 2 minutes they'll be absolutely fine. Okay, so please remember that. But unfortunately, we in the heat of the moment, we say a lot of things that hurt them deeply. So just remember this during this time.
Right. Got it. So yeah. So rather than reacting it, absorb it and listen to the kid and then calm them down as well, right? That's what you're saying. Brilliant. Okay, great. So yes, Bimal, thank you so much for being with us this evening. It has been a wonderful experience, and then I have learned a lot. I'm sure the audience had as well. I simply love the way you give knowledge, and you support supportive attitude that you have, that has helped so many thousands of people back in India. And we wanted to, so I wanted to share this with our audience in Sri Lanka, and I'm sure they have learned something by attending this session as well. I sincerely thank you for being with us this evening. Now, I would, ladies and gentlemen, I will, if you are looking for resources of how to do effective parenting and what, so I will share. I just shared a Facebook link of insightful parenting, right? Insightful parents. Yeah, in insightful parents. Go and like this page. This is a private group of parents which Bimal coaches. It has a lot of wealth of information, wealth of value in it, and he bring in speakers as well, and internationally and locally as well, and share their ideas. So it's a very engaging place, and this is a place where you will go and learn a lot about parenting. I know, I understand. You say, what's there to learn about parenting? But parenting is a skill, and then the way to develop a skill is by practicing. So this is the web, this is the Facebook. You can go and like, and whenever there is a program, you'll be able to get the update and have lots and lots of value. Thank you very much, Bimal, for sharing that. I know it's a very private group, but you've shared it with our audience, and that will definitely create value for our audience. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. This has been our second episode of Real Talk with Shuvo, and then we had this wonderful conversation with Bimal Raj this evening. So next week, next Monday, we'll be having our next session on what the disruption is going to be in the digital world right after COVID. So we are getting a digital specialist from Sri Lanka. We will reveal it by tomorrow or day after. Who's going to be the speaker for that. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, before I finish, I would like to finish with a quote from Franklin Roosevelt. We cannot always build a future for our youth. So we cannot always build a future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. So it's all in our hands, ladies and gentlemen. And so next time, when your child is reacting, you don't react. Listen and build that relationship. Listen, understand, and build that relationship. That will definitely give you the result what you're looking for. With that, Shuvo signing off. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you so much.